students, this is the first in a series of how do we tune our instruments. I'm starting with flute because that's the section that asked me how to do it. The first thing I'm going to say is we have an on-screen tuner right here. This is called Tonal Energy. It's one that I have on my iPad and my phone. It costs a couple dollars in the Android store, but it is one of my favorites. That doesn't mean you have to go buy it, and this isn't a commercial, but it's great. But there's plenty of free ones. Actually, I used a free one forever before I found Tonal Energy. I just like the faces that this one gives me. There's also a free tuner built into Smart Music, which I know my students have access to. And you might be asking, like, okay, why is she talking to me about tuners? Well, we can be playing the right note with our whole instrument, but if our instrument is not set up and tuned from the beginning, then it sounds like a wrong note. And you're like, wait, what? So let's say I play flute, and I push my flute, my head joint, all the way in. So this is the max that it can go. And then I'm like, I'm going to play a B flat. Well, okay, it gave me a really sharp B flat, and for a second it said it was B natural, right? And so really sharp meaning that our pitch sounds higher, really flat meaning that our pitch sounds lower, right? So since I was pushed all the way in, I made my instrument as small as it'll go. It's registering as a really sharp B flat, which it's almost a B flat, but it's also almost not a B flat, right? In an opposite aspect, I could back all the way out as far as I can safely go, make my head joint come all the way out of my flute like that, and if I try to play B flat now, that's a completely different note, but I'm still playing a B flat. Look at that. So what happened? Well, I made my instrument almost an inch longer, right, by pulling it out, and that made my instrument sound flat. Most instruments you'll find there's sort of a happy medium, and it does depend on your instrument, depends on the temperature outside, it depends how much you played that day. And sometimes when you play flute, it just depends on the mood that your flute is in, because honestly, they're kind of like, I think I want to be flat today. That's just the nature of the instrument, right? So I pushed in a little bit more than halfway now. Let's see if that gets my B flat closer to the center. Closer, right? I was more toward the middle. And the goal is to get that sort of happy face to come up and keep it steady. I think I got further away that time. Right? So we do have to kind of play with this. And I'm still really sharp, which means I need to pull out and make my instrument a little bit longer, right? Pull my head joint out a little bit more. Good. For a minute there, I had a nice, steady, happy face. So that means probably around here is where my personal instrument and me playing today on this day that I'm filming this, that's where my instrument needs to be for a B flat. You will find some notes that kind of go in and out of tune, and on flute, the way that you fix that, so let's say you're sitting next to somebody and you're both playing E flat and you're like, why does my E flat sound a little bit weird? Well, your instrument might be in tune because you tuned it when band started that day, but you're like, why is my E flat weird? Maybe that note for your instrument you need to roll in or roll out, because that's going to adjust the pitch also. Right, so if I rolled down and then I rolled up before it got to that sort of steady pitch. So flutes, sometimes when we roll, right, that's going to adjust how we get our instrument in tune, as well as like a fine tune after we've adjusted at the actual head joint how long or short our instrument needs to be for that day. Hopefully that helps, clarifies it. If you have questions, put them in the comments or find a way to ask me and I'll help with what I can.